Every now and then, someone walks into the room carrying more than a story. They carry the proof that discipline, pain, and persistence can rewrite an entire life.
YouTube was my best friend at the time. Didn't have any money to invest elsewhere, so I just consumed hours of content, experimenting on myself, what exercises worked, what didn't, what am I feeling.
Cameron Neale grew up as the kid who loved sport until pneumonia stopped him in his tracks.
First started with high fevers, 40-degree temperatures, and I started feeling very unwell. Then I suddenly had lost my breath. That's when I went to hospital. I've never been so weak in my life. That was a real struggle at this point.
But losing strength forced him to build something deeper: identity, resilience, and a fierce love for health that would take him from Sydney all the way to London. He left comfort behind, moved across the world, hit rock bottom financially, and still refused to quit. And today he's rebuilding everything from the ground up with intention, purpose, and with heart.
Not a lot of income coming in, burning through my cash. So October time, I have nothing. I had to sell my...
This is not just a fitness journey. This is the story of becoming someone stronger, inside and out.
We always see the success story of someone really high up, but what about the journey going along? Because that's the most important part.
Welcome to the Midweek Motivation Podcast. This week, we're switching things up. I'm the one being interviewed, where I'll share insights into how my journey began, the highs and challenging lows, and the vision that keeps me going. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Rubasha Family Podcast. We're here for a very, very special episode. I have the one and only Cameron Neale. Now, Cameron and I have an amazing journey together. Obviously, all of what we do is about passion. It's about passion and a love to just express ourselves in the greatest possible way. So we've had one client, Rugari, who we were managing his podcast, and you came on his show, which our team, we edited, and we loved, obviously, your personality, the way you came across fitness, sport, health, amazing stuff. And then, we did a live event with Rugari. You were in that room, then we had a meeting, we had a talk, and then now you've come in and said, hey, obviously, can you guys help manage the podcast? Yeah. And what was interesting for me was your story, like what you're doing. You have a vision, and you're relentless, and you're consistent, and I see it, and I'm inspired by it. And so, people are here to learn, to grow. So I really want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and the warm welcome. I'm looking forward to this discussion and meeting you finally in person. It's like the next step in our work together.
Yeah. So guys, for those of you guys who don't know, Cameron lives in London, obviously from Australia. So we're going to get into his story. So he just arrived and we're here, right? That's so powerful. We've been obviously working together, but now he can be here in Sydney and we can talk. So let's go back. Let's people give context. Where are you from? Where were you born? Who are you?
Sure. Well, I'm born and raised in Sydney. I've been in here all my life, and I grew up on Northern Beaches in Sydney. And then kind of discovered my passion of health and fitness. And I guess it depends on, how long you want the story. But when I was 15, I had pneumonia. And before then I was, playing sport, like most kids. And sport was part of my identity then. Mm-hmm. When I was in hospital for pneumonia, and through that recovery, I couldn't play sport for a long time for my lungs to recover. So then I kind of discovered what health and fitness really is, and just dived down that rabbit hole, and I got stronger and fitter, achieved goals that, never had before. And then eventually realized that I could actually do this for a living, and because I'm passionate about it, decided to become a personal trainer. I went to university, and, now being so heavily involved in the space, creating content, helping people in the online space, whole businesses around it. And now, it's been a year, I moved to London to start a whole new journey, to explore that side of the world while still personal training and just meeting new people and helping more people in that way.
So let's go back. What sport did you play at that age? And when, so talk about that young age of playing sport. What sport were you playing?
Yeah, so basketball and soccer were my main ones, and then eventually it was just basketball. So I ended up playing that for about 13 years. And when I had pneumonia, that was probably kind of a halfway point.
What position in football? Or I call football, but
yeah. Well, I guess I get used to saying football because being in London, that's all they say. I was playing any position, to be honest. My best position was centre mid.
Okay.
But I wasn't a bad goalkeeper, especially when I could return to the sport. At least I don't have to run as much. I can be a goalkeeper.
You look like a kind of centre mid because you look like the type of player, fitness. Maybe, before you had, a centre mid, you have to be fit.
Yeah.
You're going up and down, up and down.
Yeah, so that's I guess one of the main reasons why I was so good in that position is because I didn't mind running all over the field.
What do you think sports taught you from those early ages?
Teamwork. Teamwork is important. When you have so many people in your team like that, you can't win a game by yourself. So you need to be able to trust your team, and training is important because you work out different strategies, how you work with other people, and that's how you can ultimately win games. And that is kind of transferred to business and life, is having a team around you.
And so how did you find that you had pneumonia?
Well, I first started with high fevers, 40-degree temperatures, and just started feeling very unwell. And then about a week of that, then I suddenly had lost my breath. So I was struggling to breathe, so that's when I went to the hospital. And then I was there for about 4 or 5 days and lost 7 kilos in that process. And bear in mind, I was already a skinny kid. So when you lose 7 kilos like that, it's like, wow, that's a huge difference.
So how was that mentally when you're 15 at this point and you find that you have pneumonia? How did you deal with it?
Yeah. So I guess my size before then, I never really thought about it. But then seeing that was like, wow, that was a bit of a shock. Especially going at that time period in my life where your hormones are raised and you're more conscious on how you approach women. And so that was that's where I became a little bit self-conscious of like, okay, I look very strong or don't have a lot of muscle. And just like when I trying to get down to the end of the hallway, it was like one of the exercises where it's trying to get a couple of steps in and just walking from my bed to the end of the hallway. Oh man, I've never been so weak in my life. That was a real struggle at this point. So then I realized, okay, well, I've got some work to do to get there. I had no idea at the time on like how to improve fitness and all that, but yeah, that was a big shock.
Wow, walking. So, okay. Wow. Okay. So you got pneumonia at 15. You're going through that. Now talk to us about the next journey. Like, what are you starting to see in your life? What did you want to do? You're in high school at this point.
Yeah.
What did you want to do after school?
Yeah. Well, I struggled answering all those questions in careers class about what do you want to be in 5 years' time and all that. No chance. No idea what I wanted to do. I thought engineering would be my pathway just because my dad's an engineer and I used to help out at his work a lot. But then I guess I realized that to get to a stronger, fitter version of myself, I needed to do some sort of strength training. My parents were very fortunate. They were able to purchase a pull-up bar, home version, and a couple of other pieces of equipment. That's where I started. I was like, okay, a pull-up is a good way of a good sign of showing strength. So I'll try and do that. And then took a few months of just trying and then got that. I'm like, okay, that's cool. What's next? And then just YouTube was my best friend at the time. Didn't have any money to invest elsewhere. So I just consumed hours of content, experimenting on myself, what exercises worked, what didn't, what am I feeling? And then you just show up, every single time and just, see what happens. And I used to write down all my workouts in a notepad. And there was a time where I would just kind of follow the same workout for a few times a week. And then eventually I learned about exercise programming and, you splitting up different muscle groups so you get the most recovery. And then we just go from there.
Mm-hmm. So your dad, did he work for an engineering company or he had his own business engineering?
He had his own business. Yeah. It was very niche and specific business. So it was just himself. Really. He rents a factory. He still has it today. And so I would go in a couple of times after school or maybe school holidays and earn some extra money and learn some some physical skills there. And that kind of helps with building strength in different areas because it's very hands-on in terms of building the units that we needed to do.
So what were you doing?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't notice, but basically he creates a gauge for cruise ships and all the different types of boats. And these gauges can vary in terms of, seeing what the air pressure is in the boats, or maybe it's water, or potentially oil. So almost like a speedometer in a car, that dial there, but for more ships. So very small markets, but also very, very crucial for those big ships. They need, sometimes up to hundreds, per ship.
What was his business? What was the business?
So he was actually creating those units.
So he's creating these. Wow.
So he would source all the individual parts, put them together, and then tailor it for that. Like say, you calibrate them, as what the term is, to what the actual purpose is for that unit, because they're all going to vary in terms of what their purpose is for.
Okay, so dad's an entrepreneur. What about mum? What was mum doing?
Yeah, mum is a superwoman, I would say, and I didn't realize that until I was an adult. So when me and my brother were growing up, she stayed at home full time, but she was creating her own skincare business on the side that I had literally no idea about. And then she returned to full time work when we were a bit older, and then eventually went sort of part time helping with my dad's company, while still having her own skincare business that she still runs today. And she, in her spare time, she's getting into like jewelry making, and so it's just trying to find new ways to keep the mind active, but also enjoying what she likes. And if she makes a bit of money as a bit of bonus, that's what she enjoys.
So like, as an entrepreneur now, when you look back at your parents, like, what were some things that you observed? Like, what was that like? What did you observe in the house? Like, dad's running his business, and as you guys know, business is not easy. It's hard. Like this is so hard. It's So what did you observe about your parents? Just life, what they're doing, and then relationship, looking after children, brothers, sisters.
Yeah, I got a younger brother. He's only 2 years younger than me, so very close in age.
And how old are you, for people who don't know?
I'm 25.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I have an older half sister. She's 9 years older than me. But in terms of growing up, I was always the oldest in the house. Yeah.
So what did you observe about your parents?
Yeah, I think it made me realize they had a bit more flexibility in terms of how they manage their time. I mean, they sometimes will have to work on weekends, or maybe stay up late to write email. But then once they establish their own routine in business, they had the flexibility to say come home for lunch and spend time with us. That was a pretty cool thing to have, and you don't really appreciate that until maybe until you're in adulthood where you can do that. And that's what I made me realize, that when you're self-employed, like, you have the flexibility to kind of work in your own time. And of course, it's going to vary in terms of maybe when you're just starting your business, or when you're struggling for leads, you have to put more hours in. But that's what I really liked. They were able to make time for us, and there will be time periods where there's more money to kind of be spent on family trips, or supporting for education, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So then, and at those now ages, you're going on school holidays, and then would dad be like, hey, come and work with me, or would you want to just go yourself?
I think the invitation was from them first, or from dad. At first, like when me and my brother were young, just because we had to be looked after school holidays, we'll go into work and we'll just kind of watch YouTube, and then he might just invite us to like, oh, do you want to come try and do this? And then eventually just kind of led to, a bit of casual work in the afternoons. Then throughout uni, I was also coming in, a few mornings a week, to do that. Yeah.
And did you like it? Like, was it anything you maybe learnt business wise, or was it just more like, because you guys are there watching YouTube videos, and dad said, hey, come, like, take interest. Yeah, that's your dad. Like, your dad's your hero. So that's very interesting. Did you learn anything from seeing him and what he used to do, maybe his work ethic? What did you see? What did you observe from that age, or even then in university helping dad with his business?
Yeah, I learned that's just more soft skills on especially about cash flow, because these parts are so specific and hard to source. You have to go to very particular suppliers to get these resources, and they come from all over the world. And when you go through quieter periods, how do you know to order so much stock? But then if that doesn't get used, then you kind of just spent all this money and not being used. So that is from a physical brick and mortar business. Like, how do you manage the cash flow of that? How do you use your finances in a very intelligent way to do that? As a coaching business, that doesn't really affect me so much, but looking at potential more business down the line in a physical sense and having physical products, that is, I think, a challenge that a lot of businesses have, is to know when, how much stock you need to have and how you sell it and everything.
Wow, powerful. Okay, so then university, working with dad, boom. Now, what's Cameron looking to do with his life?
So this is interesting. Not a lot of people know about this, but I went to university straight out of high school, and I was doing science subjects in my last few years of school. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do this? I'm going to do forensic science. So I did that for 1 year at university. I had a great time at university, loved it, but didn't like the degree so much. So I ended up dropping that. I took a year off and just, I was working in my dad's company, and then I was also delivery driving for a Chinese restaurant. And I was doing that for 6 days a week, just earning money and saving, trying to figure out what to do next. And then I saw this degree called Sport and Exercise Management at the same university that I really enjoyed at. So I was like, I'm going to go for this, and started realizing that, okay, maybe there is some career in health and fitness. So I ended up doing that. Once I started, I realized that I don't want to wait 3 years minimum to get into the workforce. So that's why I was like, okay, why not I just train people on the side? I was already training my brother a little bit and my girlfriend. So this was like, okay, well, I feel like I've got some skill here. So did my certificate in personal training, and this was around at the same time COVID happened. So then I had a lot more time. So I was studying, and then I did my PT certificate on the side. I had more time, so it kind of worked out well. And then by the time COVID was over, I was already working and getting ahead in my field. And I'm really glad I did that, because personal training has so many skills that you just learn from just experience on how to connect with people, how do people respond to different cues, because one cue is not going to be the same response that everyone's going to have. How to talk to people and sympathize with people, because everyone has so much going on and different issues. You just learn a whole lot, even if you just suddenly like, I'm not qualified to do this, like how to deal with this. You just learn how to literally just talk to a human being, and obviously help them with their goals. That's where my expertise comes in.
So like, it's interesting because you've gone to university. Okay, science, I'm like, no, I'm not really feeling this.
Yeah.
I'm working jobs still, working a little bit with dad. So like, I'm also getting a sense of that, the entrepreneurial mind in you's kind of, thinking in the back, like, what can I do? What can I do? Okay, boom, sports and management. You see that. And then you start thinking, wait a minute, why am I waiting 3 years? Because most people would have just, let me just, finish the degree and wait it out. He's like, why am I waiting 3 years to get in the workforce? Let me see if I can start earning now.
Yeah.
So what I also want to ask you is, why didn't you go into the engineering? Because that could have been easy, right? You're like, you know what? Yeah, dad's doing this thing. Like, I've seen him. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
What made you not want to go into the engineering?
I knew that I wasn't passionate about it. I had maybe some skills, and maybe having the advantage of having like a father who was in that space. But, something that wasn't really something that was like sticking. So I think I knew. So what happened was, in year 10, there was like an accelerated engineering like subject, and you had to have certain marks to join this class. And I didn't make the marks for maths and science combined, so I couldn't join that class, and they weren't offering it like for year 11, 12. So I was like, okay, well, the next best choice for engineering in school was science. So I did physics, chemistry, biology. And then I realized, okay, science is kind of more interesting. That's why I went the forensic science route, and then eventually more the health science or exercise science.
Okay, cool. Wow. Yeah, that's because I was really intrigued about that. I was like, wait, that could have been the easy way out. So now you're doing sports management degree, and then you're getting clients to train on the side.
Yeah.
Where did you get those clients, and how much were you charging them?
Yeah. So as soon as I got my certificate, I created my fitness Instagram account and my YouTube account.
You said you got your certificate. Which certificate?
In personal training.
Oh, so that 3 years that you're doing the thing, you said, okay, I want to go and take clients, but you have to go get a certificate.
Yeah. So in Australia, you need to have your certificate 3 and 4 in fitness to be able to be a qualified personal trainer. Once you have that, then you can, I guess, legally train clients in Australia.
Okay. So yeah, you've got that, and then
So first thing I did was started creating my YouTube channel and my Instagram, and which was a bit scary initially. But I did that, and then so I advertised like a intro offer, which was 30 minutes for $30, something like that. And I got a couple people I knew who were keen on that. And then I started with a company called Functional for Life. So they Australian-based personal training company, and it's all mobile. So you drive around to people's homes or the park, and you carry the equipment. And I was a freelancer for this company, and I was with them for 2 years. And so that was a really great stepping stone. I think I'm really grateful for that opportunity because I learned so much from their mentorship and working with different people. And because as a freelancer, I was still kind of operating my own business, except I just didn't do the sales or the marketing, at least not until later on. So that was a good stepping stone for just learning how to just actually perfect my craft and then expand on other skills later on.
So that was a way for you to get in the game.
Exactly.
They say.
Yeah.
Okay. How was it creating your YouTube channel? Like, what made you want to do that? Because then what I can think is, you're there and you were binge watching YouTube videos from a young age, like YouTube videos. What YouTube videos were you watching when you were younger?
I was watching mostly Minecraft videos.
Okay. Like people playing Minecraft?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
I always see the young kids. I'll see my little cousins and I'm good there. And they're watching other people play a game and I never used to understand. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And it's like, So yeah. Okay. So you're watching Minecraft.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And it's interesting that you bring that up because technically this fitness channel, which is still current, that's my fourth YouTube channel that I've started. Yeah, the first one, it was just a Lego. I used to watch Lego before Minecraft as well, but it was it wasn't a stop motion. I was just taking photos of a set, and that was it. It's actually still live on YouTube somewhere, but that was that. The second one I made was Minecraft videos. I'd leave that account. The third one, which is still on there, it's completely different. It's called Quattro Films, and it was me and some mates, and we were just kind of creating short films of anything really. So that's still there, and it got too hard to manage everyone in the end. So that was more of a hobby. And then this one, which is my personal brand or my fitness account.
Let's talk about that a little bit. What made you want to do YouTube?
Yeah, it just what made me do it. I liked creating videos. Even I used to create just private videos for myself and family, from holidays. I just put photos and videos together, and it was on used to be on Windows Movie Maker back in the day. And then, and going through those other channels, it's I kind of enjoyed the process of creating videos and uploading them. But I wouldn't share it with anyone in my immediate circle. I would just let randoms find it. Yeah. And then, so it was always something that seemed pretty cool to kind of continue. And YouTube was a great platform for fitness anyway, for sharing advice and helping people out on their journey. And it helped me out. Also, in a way, I want to give back by creating my own content, my own style that hopefully people like.
And it's so good that you're doing this at such a young age. People don't maybe realize it, but you're also from that generation. I was kind of the same thing. You're watching YouTube. Even for me, when I think about what made me, I guess it was just to document it. But then that process became addictive to you get a video, then upload it.
Yeah.
It became addictive. Even now too, it still is addictive. And I'm glad we can do that with your podcast. But even still, when we're doing your podcast, you're still uploading your own vlogs and stuff like that, which is, I think it's genius, right? You have vlogs on your channel, you've got the podcast.
Yeah.
And then you're in the health and fitness that's a huge industry. I'll be in the gym, for example, when my physio gives me a plan, I'll Google the exercise and what comes up YouTube and it says how to do a plank sit up or for example, and it's so it's, in terms of, being an entrepreneur, I'm talking, this is a $1 billion industry. So what you're doing now, I'm telling you, genius.
I appreciate it. Yeah. It's been a long journey and, I haven't prioritized YouTube as much as I would like to, but at the end of the day, I love coaching and then that's been my priority, at least the last few years anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. So now you're in university, you've got your certificate.
Yeah.
YouTube, Instagram. because that's a little bit, because you got to think, okay, I got to get clients. So that's the marketing mind you're thinking, right? So anyway, okay. So yeah, talk to us now about where you are now and like how many clients do you have, what's happening, and then, yeah.
Yeah, so it got to a point where, so I was with Functional for Life for a bit over 2 years, I think 2.5 in the end. And then I was also working at Activate Fit Gym, which is an Ultimo. And I had a part of my subject was doing internship. So I did my internship at a gym so I could get experience there. And this is more management side rather than personal training. So different skill set, but in the same industry. And after that, I got offered full time. So I did that. And I was balancing personal training 20 hours a week on top of full-time work. And so it was a lot of hours in the end. And I was doing that for a few months. And then I decided to just kind of drop most of my personal training clients and just go full-time management. And I got, I was there for, I was a year and a half, and then
full-time management.
Yeah. So I was, assistant manager at the gym.
At the gym. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said, okay, guys, not really feeling the personal clients thing. Let me be a manager at this gym.
Yeah. I think I was looking for more financial security at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. In the few months leading up to that, we had a bit of a drop off with some clients. And so, but as soon as I accepted full time, my client base went back up again. So I was working crazy hours to juggle both.
As soon as you accepted full time from the job,
yeah,
you still kept the.
Yeah, so I was doing both. I was like, oh, I can do both. Mm-hmm. But then, yeah, because like clients were going down, so it means my financials going down. But then as soon as I accepted that, it's like clients went back up again. I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm just incredibly busy. And it was a good time period to work because now I understood what it's like to operate at such a high level when you work a lot. And how do you deal with like being a bit more stressed because you have a lot more priorities you need to focus on, a lot more people to be there for, and how you manage your health and your relationships when you're working that much. And then get to a point where when you're facing a bit more burnouts in that way. Bear in mind, I was also running a club as well, a uni club, so that was also taking some time away. And training, so it was a lot to deal with. So I was like, okay, in the end, let me just drop PT for now, for the most part, and just focus on having this job and then my other, I guess, side quests, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So then, and how old are you at this point?
Well, I was, when I started full time, I was 22, I think.
That full-time job. So, what I can already see is at that young age, most people, 22, 21, maybe you're going out partying, you're still, doing your odd job here and there, but, maybe you're in that young phase. It depends who you are. That's the majority of people kind of in that life, but you're already like just most of your time was occupied with work.
Yes.
Doing what you're doing what you're passionate about. And so, okay. So then you have a full-time job. You're running your private clients.
Yeah.
Now, what's happening now? What's next?
Yeah. So the next point, it was just like kind of, seeing where the next opportunity arises. I didn't have much of a plan. And then I was having conversations with my partner about, what are your thoughts about kind of living somewhere else for the time being, and we both agreed that London was going to be a kind of like a cool next step for both of us, just trying to find the right timing of when that was. And my partner got this contract where she was kind of covering for maternity leave. So like, right, this is perfect. So she got this new contract, but it's like 9 months or 10 months, something like that. And
a job in London.
In Sydney.
Just a quick announcement before we return to the podcast. If you're someone who's been feeling a bit stuck lately, maybe you're switching careers, rebuilding your routine, or just trying to get your life together, I get it. That's exactly why I write the Midweek Motivation newsletter, where every week I share real, honest thoughts on training, mindset, and the messy process of figuring life out. Especially for guys like us, we're in our 20s and 30s, just trying to get ahead in our careers, fitness, and performance. It's short and it's personal, and it might just give you the push you need during the middle of the week when it's least motivating. You can subscribe using the link in the show notes below, or go to substack.com and search up Midweek Motivation. All right, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, and so this was perfect timing because after she's done her contract, then we can leave. So this was like kind of, if there was a calling, this was it. Mm-hmm. So okay, so I'm just continuing my thing for the until that time time came, and then April 2024, her contract was done, and right, okay, we're gonna just go for it. We're going to pack our bags and live in London for the next few years, or wherever the next step takes us. And so that's when I left everything behind, and we wanted to make sure that travel was a big part. We don't want to go into a full-time job and just live the same routine day in, day out. We want to make sure that we're trying to take as many opportunities as possible.
Wow. Okay. And do you have any like background from the UK, family, like passport, things like that?
Yep. So I do have a bit of English heritage, and I got some family living in the UK, and so I was eligible to get a UK passport, which is, I guess, always handy. But,
really handy.
Yeah. So that made things a little bit easier. So then, but they don't live in London, so we were both kind of starting from a fresh. We didn't know anyone in London really that was there.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So now go to London.
Yeah.
What's the plan?
While I was working full time, I knew that I wanted to get back into coaching because I did really enjoy that. But this time I wanted to have my own business. I'm not a freelancer to someone else. And I wanted to have an online coaching element to it. But I just never made the time when I was working full time plus training. It's just a lot to do. So I was like, okay, we're starting afresh. I tell you what, having a calendar with nothing in it was like, wow, this is almost the endless. The opportunities are endless. What you can do with your time. So then I was focusing on trying to build that up, and I guess took a bit longer than I expected, but to find a gym that you really like, and that was convenient, and you can source some good leads. So let's say in May when I started trying to build up my business, and then it wasn't until September, so a good 6 months until I found a place that I really liked. I tried a couple of gyms here and there, and wasn't really a good option for me. So then September, and I'm in the same gym we're in now. Plus I've also worked 2 other gyms as well. So 3 gyms in total that I spend my time in, and they're all in a very short commute of each other. My main one is a 5-minute walk away, which is like the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're in the gym. So how do you get clients?
Yeah. So it's literally about talking to people and building rapport best you can. The good thing, or one of the advantages of our gym is that every new member who comes through the door, when they sign up for membership, they get a complimentary PT session. Some people take it, some don't. And then some people take the session, but have no intention of signing up. So it's kind of like almost a 1 in 10 situation where you get someone who wants a session that is also genuinely interested in PT sessions.
So, but hold on, in the if you're you public PT in the gym, and then so you pay the gym rent.
Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So being self-employed as a personal trainer in the gym, you most of the time pay rent to the gym. In this case, this is I pay rent per week.
Oh, you pay gym, or like Australia, like they have here weekly. The same thing there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're paying rent weekly to the gym. So okay, if I can have this amount of clients, obviously I pay my rent, and then everything else I keep, and then
exactly
run my business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And when I was starting with this gym, I was on a hybrid role, so which meant I was also doing employment hours for the gym, and which is great because obviously I moved here with no clients, so having some stability, even if it's only minimum wage. And so 10 hours a week, I would be employed to the gym where I'm at reception, doing gym floor duties, and just doing opening, closing procedures,
but
running classes.
The job from the gym, wouldn't that help you pay the rent?
Exactly. So those 10 hours paid almost my rent per week, but not quite.
Okay, so not, but then almost, which is that's fantastic. So that working there helps you, and then at least you have a job 10 hours that helps you nearly pay for the rent, and so everything else you do is kind of more now for yourself to grow your business.
Exactly, and pay my personal rent as well.
Yes.
Which is quite a lot for London.
London, huh? You don't mind how much roughly? You don't have to share if you don't want to.
So London rent, I pay, including bills, about £615 a month. So that's looking at around $1,200 Australian.
Yeah, because pounds are strong. So that's 1,200 Australian
a month.
A month.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's 2-bedroom, but then we have flatmates who for 1 bedroom. So yeah. Sorry, it's 1,200 for my room.
For your room?
From my room.
I thought you meant for the whole place.
No. So,
Because then I was like, then you bring in someone, like, for example, we have Airbnb or da, and then that allows you just for your room.
So no, it's even more than that. That's what I pay, but I'm sharing with my partner as well. So she's also paying that same amount. So we're both paying over £600 each just for our room.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are you guys staying?
We're staying in southwest London, where all the other Aussies and Kiwis are, in Clapham.
Clapham. Oh, okay. That's Clapham's like in the city. Clapham, I remember that bus. I used to see bus Clapham.
It's near Battersea and that Richmond area, kind of.
So maybe... What?
It's a very nice spot, and I'm very happy where I am now, but it was a bit of an adjustment period.
Okay. So, okay. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot, man. Yeah, that's just you by yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you know my rent's high. I'm at this gym, got a little part-time job.
Yeah.
I got to pay rent to the gym as well. How much is rent to the gym?
So I was paying £157 a week. So that's about $300 a week in rent for the gym.
300 AUD
Yeah.
a week. So that's like 900 a month. My math's not the best.
Yeah. something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. I love this because it's getting into the story, right? This is getting into, I'm putting myself in your shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, so boom. Gym, okay, you got this job, paying rent. Okay, so now how do you, do you feel pressure at this time?
Oh, yeah.
You got your partner, how is the anxiety? Is there anxiety? How is the mind frame here?
Yeah. So, yeah, bear in mind it took me from May to September to find the gym that I actually liked. And I was doing a couple of things here and there. And at this point, not a lot of income coming in, and I'm burning through my cash. Bear in mind, I've always been generally pretty good financially. I've always been good with saving. But this point in time, we come up to sort of October time, and I have nothing in the bank account. I had to sell my whatever the small stocks I had to get some extra cash. And so this was a very stressful time period to be in. I've had issues financially before, so this was a big crazy thing. And bear in mind, the year before, I just paid off all my HEX debt, so I could consider amount of cash before, and I just saved it for the move, paid off my uni debt, and here we are. So then it takes some time because it probably took me a month at this gym to get my first client. But that's just one client; you need multiple clients to be able to sustain that. And then it probably wasn't until February where things started to really take a good turn in the positive way. And I was also doing F45 coaching, so that's just group training, and I was doing that, and then I joined not too long after that at a weightlifting specific gym. And when I first arrived to London, I joined this gym as a member because I love weightlifting, and it's kind of the place where I want to be spending more time in. And so the owner, which we did a podcast episode recently, and he asked me to do some coaching there. So now I've got these 3 gyms, and now doing better than ever.
Okay, so that time February is when it started to you get. But before then, how did you navigate through that phase of your life?
Yeah, it was really tough. I'm very grateful to have my partners to support me wherever we can. And so she was paying, more of the essential needs until I was able to bring in a bit more cash flow going in. Mm-hmm. I'd say I didn't really think about packing up and just coming back here to make it easier, but it did make me really appreciate more what I had down here. But then that kind of motivated me to be I'm going to make this work, and we'll just do whatever we can. I was getting really close to just handing my resume at kind of anywhere in the end, just to add a bit more casual income coming in. But fortunately, just be patient, play the long game, still working hard to bring something coming in, and eventually, things turn out. Yeah,
I think that's something that people need to hear because to play the long game when you have pressure, man. When everything's online, and what I like about it is because you went out of your comfort zone. It's very easy to stay in Australia, but here you are in your comfort zone, in the trenches. Then, you've burned through your cash, so you're damn, it's hard. You could have easily gone back home, packed it all up, but it's that persistence and that consistency to keep going. If I just keep going, but it's hard, man. It's hard that the anxiety, especially around money, could be tough, right? and then you have a partner, and you know, thank God that your partner's also understanding and she could help. So then, talk to us now. What made it start to go?
There's a good timing that the new year rolled around. January is always a big year for people joining gyms. I realize people in London don't pay for personal training in January. For one,
Wait, I thought January. That's when they
come into the gym, but they either think that they don't need extra support. They use their motivation to kickstart things. But secondly, in London, people get paid monthly, and so they get paid just before Christmas, and they don't get paid again until right at the end of January. So they don't have a lot of finances to invest as well. So that's where February comes around, and that becomes a very good month for a lot of PTs in February. And then from there, just keep building momentum from talking to new people in the gym, or just people who've been there for a while, but because you build that rapport, you can start to talk more about deeper conversations about, you know, what are you struggling with at the moment? And that sort of thing. You can start to...
So you would go around the gym and just start talking to people?
Yeah, so the good thing about those shift work is that there'll be times where I don't have any tasks to do. I can go around the gym floor and talk to people, literally. And I'm not always there to, you know, hand out, come train with me, free session first and see if you like it. It's all about just like actually having human connection. And, you know, maybe eventually they actually might bring it up before you even ask them. So that's what you got to do in that situation.
You know, that's very interesting when we talk about, like, let's say for people who have online businesses, getting clients, right? So I'm thinking about, let's say a place like LinkedIn is like the gym. And what happens when you go on LinkedIn is everyone just starts pitching to you, right? I open up my messages, boom, just receive people, no personalization, just so delete or just kind of move past. But you were in the gym going and just having conversations with people, not coming to sell, here's my, you were just having conversations.
Yeah.
But I think people can take that in a different level to, like, when you're on LinkedIn, because there you're in the gym. That's where your audience is. So you're in the right place and you're working there, which is smart. You get all your tasks done. That's genius, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I can build my clientele, because my clients are here. I'm not going out and, having to go on social media. Yes, you can do that in the back, but like you're actively in your audience. So a lot of people, B2B, for example, or Instagram, wherever, B2B, your audience is on LinkedIn. So you went with an approach to talk to people.
Yeah.
Get to know them, human connection. And I think that's how people can take this in. Like when you're on places like this, like a LinkedIn, go and just speak to people. Yes, you can see someone as a potential client. Like you would have seen people as, you could see that you can help someone.
Yeah.
You could see maybe their form, but then just you having that normal conversation like we do. We see potential clients on LinkedIn, have conversations, talk to them, get to know them.
Yeah.
And like you said, they can even come to you. So can you talk a little bit about how did that go? Like, I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, I'm naturally an introverted person, so going out of my way to talk to someone is not my idea of like having fun in that way. But I enjoy having conversations with people, and so usually like maybe you just start with just like saying hello to people, especially if they recognize me from on shift work, so they know like I work here at some capacity. Maybe it's you see someone in class that you've taught, and you see them on the gym floor. So you go say, "Oh, hey, how's training going? How's your weekend?" I train there personally, so people can see me lift, and then or I see them lift, and I go give them a compliment or give them a tip or something like that. And especially when they see me lift, and I do Olympic weightlifting in a commercial gym, it's not a common thing. So people always like curious. I'm like, "Oh, how do you get your sit underneath with a bar over your head with plenty of weight?" That's like a good conversation starter where people come up to you.
Oh, so that's not a common thing for people to see, like a weightlifter?
No, definitely not. Deadlifting, squatting, bench pressing, sure. But to be able to do a snatch or a clean and jerk, which is like your Olympic lifts, very uncommon in a commercial gym.
Oh yeah, do I ever see when I go to fitness? Yeah, that's true.
Because also sometimes those gyms don't have the environment to have it. Because you need to have proper plates, so when you drop them, they don't get damaged. You got the proper flooring. And also the space. If people are walking in front of you, it's not a good idea to throw a weight above your head.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing that you stood out a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and
exactly.
Then?
I think it's a good way to just connect people from that way. And you do it from a place of humility and not ego. I think it's very easy to see someone like lift those weights, and especially if you're dropping them, people will be like, oh, don't do that here, sort of thing. That's kind of the vibe sometimes. So you have to really come across as that you're doing it at a place of growth and being humble about it, and obviously being safe about it. I'm not going to load up some absurd weight and just continue trying to hit it. There's a time and place for that, but that's a challenge, I think, especially in a commercial gym. But then I also have the weightlifting gym, which is very different. People are dropping weights all the time. It's literally the place to do it. So yeah, I guess I got those best of those worlds there.
So I'm really intrigued in how did you convert people into clients?
So I would offer them a complimentary session first. Just I'm happy to give up my time for that, and even if they say up front, like, oh, actually, I don't have money right now to do that, I'm just going to offer you anyway, because I'm more than happy to and help you out, because you never know down the line, maybe they might come and contact you that way. At the very least, they got some value out of that, and they might even refer me to someone who is genuinely interested in coaching. We just go from there, really. I would offer them maybe a package, so you pay 10 sessions up front, for example, give them an online coaching option if they would prefer that. And we just go from there. And then I'm always trying to give 100% of my my value to my clients. It's not just like, okay, once I've signed them up, I'm not going to put any more effort into that. I'm a big believer that you got to constantly provide value to your customers, because they're the ones that are going to ultimately provide you more income over time. I'd rather keep longer term clients than constantly trying to get new ones.
And so what were the ways that you did that to continue to keep them?
Yeah, just literally being a human being and care for them, really. Understand that most of these people have normal lives where things come up in their personal life, maybe financially, in their work. So you have to understand, what their goals are and what their circumstances are, and then how you find the balance where you can push them, but not in a way that's going to be detrimental to their health. That's the challenging part and the art of coaching. There's no right way to do it. It's just like through experience and working with other people and what you've learnt to give them sort of the best training program that doesn't sacrifice too much of their time to be able to achieve that. And if they get results, then I've done my job.
And I think that's one thing that is so important in business is the lifetime value. How can you just show your customers that you care? And I like to saying that like I'm more obsessed with their problem than they are. If you're more obsessed with their problem, that's how they're going to keep paying you.
That's a really good way to think about it.
You know what I mean? Like, I obsess over their problem so much, they obsess to pay me.
Yeah.
Like, how can you obsess over it? Like, imagine that. Like, for someone, this person, like, they really care. Okay, so so talk to us. What's the vision now? So, like, what's the business model? So you have, because then I can imagine that gets tiring. How many? Your time is limited. You take 10 clients a day. It's tiring. So from where you are now, you're doing even at the other weightlifting that he told you to come in, and so you've been able to build up the revenue. So you take care of rent, take care of cool. So now what's the next level for you?
Yeah, so the shifts are done. I've dropped them, and now I do. Yeah, so I've bought back my time, but now I don't have that extra security. My gym rent goes up, so it's a risk that I've been kind of planning for.
Wait, why does it go up?
That's just the model they have. The hybrid model is meant to kind of support those PTs, and as soon as you become a full rent PT, then I don't know. It's the way the gym model works. And so I've had to make sure that I'm in the right space financially to be able to do that, and fortunately I am. The next step is that okay, now I have to try and pick up a few more sessions just to make sure that I'm staying that, especially going into our summer, which is like a quieter period for the gym. Everyone loves to go to Europe for the summer holidays. But then it gets to a point where how long can you run that hamster wheel of just trading your time for money? Especially because I do a lot more work than just that 1 hour with a client. It's all the extra stuff on the side where I'm checking up with them on WhatsApp, or it's writing their training program and changing it if I need to. And then obviously the content is a whole other level as well that I have to provide. So now the next sort of 18 months is now how I can start to transition to a bit more of a more online presence, less face-to-face problem, or to generate a bit more passive income. Because what I do know is that when I come back to live in Sydney, that I don't want to start all over again with no income, because that was not a fun not a fun place to be in. But so learned a lot so far in this last year.
So you have an online platform. How does it work now?
Yeah, so I do offer online coaching. I don't prioritize it enough at the moment. Face-to-face is like where I'm like what I'm really good at. But how do I guess translate that same passion and I guess value is, I think I'm struggling to transfer all that to online, where I'm not there face-to-face, but not also be there virtually for an hour. So in COVID, it was quite popular to do like Zoom sessions, and I did a few of those, but it's not, I think now in living normal life, Zoom sessions aren't really much of a thing anymore. But how you can still provide a training program that's custom to their goals, still checking up on them through a phone call on a weekly basis, for example, and they still have the support they need to be able to do the exercise correctly, and still feel like that they have the support they need to achieve their goals. So translating that energy is something that I'm still working on.
Oh, so that's something that you're still working on now? Because even when I think about it, like, you know, you travel, right? Like you said, people go on holiday. Like, if I have a portal, like I've done that before, I think even with one of my coaches in Sweden, for example, you know, because I'm active, that I just I log on to it, have a look at, okay, what exercise I need to do, how many, you know, and it's personalized to my program, do it. Like, people will pay money for that. Whereas, like, nowadays, even some people don't even need a gym. Or some of the exercises, maybe you give them, say, hey, or they can put into the thing, I'm working from home this month, for example. Yeah. Then you can now, and then they can do their home workouts. Like, people would pay, I would pay money for that. So, and it's true, right? Because now that's a way to build passive income. And it doesn't necessarily, maybe you're just kind of on the high level vision of, you know, kind of working things out, making sure it's better and it's optimized and convenient for them. But now, like you travel, come to Australia, your client does it, but that revenue still coming in.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. And then just trying to build up other passive income sources. So, building like maybe digital programs that people could just buy one-off without being so accustomed to them, but that way they don't need to spend maybe as much. They don't have to work with me. They could just buy a training program. I've made a training journal. That's another, I guess, source of passive income. People can go on Amazon and buy a 90-day training plan, a journal that people can use, because I think tracking is so important, especially if you do have a goal and you want to get somewhere. To be able to see what you've done each day is really helpful long term, because if you don't make any progress, be like, oh hey, but look, you've just increased your weights from last week. That's progress. You mean sleeping better? That's like huge progress. It's not always about looking aesthetic or I guess trying to put so much weight in the bar. It's all these different lifestyle changes as well. So I think making products like that is going to be super helpful long term for myself, for building passive income, but also helping more people in different ways.
Yeah. So do you have that on Amazon now?
The training journal, yes. Hopefully more products like that in the future, more digital products.
Yeah. I was also thinking about something like that as well. Like, you know, even like an ebook, for example, to teach people how to do podcasting, where even if they can't come into our monthly cohort, for example, they can buy it as a one-off, you know, and, you know, a great way to, I've been really thinking about doing something like that. So yeah. I think that's genius. Okay, man. And so now, obviously, the podcast, you know, again, I think it's so easy for you to just be in the mode of, you know, kind of working. Yes, even building a business. People build big businesses, but then they forget to do this part here, which you've been able to kind of tap into, which I think is really smart, because now, again, that allows you to kind of get out of the thing. Because now imagine now you've built such a good brand, people come and see it on YouTube. Now you're just doing this, you're podcasting, you're there keynote speaking, talking, weightlifting conferences, and now you're kind of reaching people at scale. Now you have 100,000 people coming and joining your online program. You know, they listen to you every week. You know, your clients listen to you. Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about that. What's the vision also with the brand? Like, what's 10 years from now? What's Cameron doing?
Ooh, 10 years from now. Well, right now I was just trying to enjoy the opportunities that come through, I guess, my way. So right now, living in London, traveling a lot, meeting different people, but in the next couple of years to move back to Sydney. And then long term is to eventually open a weightlifting gym. I think that's probably more like sort of 10 years down the line, I think. But a bit more immediate-ish future is to build up enough financial independence to be able to not work as much for my time, and I can dedicate that more to training. I want to be spending more time in weightlifting as a sport, and just trying to make the most of, I guess, my youth and my strength at the moment for weightlifting.
So you want to get to a position where you're just focused on your training, your vlogging, podcasting, stuff like that. But you'll focus more on the training, but then you've built in the business where that's still, it's, that revenue still coming in and you're still serving your clients, but you don't have to necessarily be in the...
Exactly. Yeah. I want to be able to grow the sport. And especially in Australia, like it's so niche that not many people know what that is, or they think it's CrossFit, or think that they don't have the mobility or the strength to be in those positions to even try it. But a lot of people can just can benefit from just learning these movements in a very modified way. Like, you don't even have to have weights to start with, just to be able to get in those positions, getting people to, I guess, just give it a go. And I'm hoping that way that we can really grow the sport here a lot more to support younger people and athletes in the sport. As otherwise, there's not a lot of funding at all in weightlifting in Australia. So long term, I think that's what I want to be doing, is to be able to spend more time in the weightlifting side of things. So working myself first, but then how can I get more people into the sport and growing it from there?
Yeah. And you have your next episode where you talk about your podcast journey, which will be released tomorrow. You guys can get the link in the description. Talk, like, before we end off, how's this journey been for you since starting a podcast? Like, what have you learned? Because I think it's fascinating, obviously, even listening to the episode myself, just, the people that you've had on the show, like, just stories of entrepreneurs, people who have a story to tell. So yeah, what's been your journey? Why did you want to start a podcast?
Yeah. So initially I was just like, I went with writing, and I was writing a newsletter called Midweek Motivation, and that was really cool because I got to expand my content, what I was doing. So rather than just being so health and fitness, I can go a bit more broad and just kind of talk about other stories and how mindsets and how like motivation, discipline all play a part in just, not just in fitness, but just in our lives in general. And then I was having a lot of conversations with Brigari, and we always like kind of record them. And I was like, you know what, let's just give this podcasting a try. And because I also really like sharing other people's stories, and the podcast is a way where it's also called Midweek Motivation, and it's a way where I can not talk about myself, which is like what every other content is about. It has some sort of element of me being there, but promote other people's stories, and that I can learn on maybe some of the stuff they've learned on their journey. But then how can I share those stories to other people? Because I think they're all very invaluable. And we always see maybe the success story of someone really high up, but what about the journey going along? Because that's the most important part. The destination, like, it's like you get to that moment and you enjoy it for a little bit, and that's it. So the journey is the part we need to be enjoying. And so I wanted to share those moments with the rest of the world.